What is going on, YouTube? As you can see, my garage is a filthy mess again. That's because literally everything is torn apart from the Corrado. I'm actually starting to put stuff back together. I have the OBD2 engine right here that I picked up. And let me tell you, I got a good deal on it because I traded a transmission for it. And I actually got with it another transmission that I'm not sure is good or not. I was told it was locked up and is no good, but from what I can tell, it may actually be good. And underneath that transmission was a almost brand new clutch kit, so I don't have to buy a clutch kit for this. That being said, the head was just out of machine shop as far as I could tell. It has a new head gasket. It is the metal head gasket. Sorry if you guys can't see me here. The lighting is retarded and my phone sucks. It also looks like the timing chains were just done on it. So this motor should be pretty good to go. However, I was disassembling it because I was told that the accessories were unknown condition. So I wanted to swap over the alternator, power steering pump, all the stuff I knew that I had was good. Oil pressure sensors, all that good stuff. And in the process of swapping that over, I found out that whoever put this thing together did not know what they were doing. 3 or 4 of the valve cover bolts are they were so cross-threaded it made a new hole for them in the head. So that's kind of scary. There was a couple other bolts that were either broken or stripped out or cross-threaded. The scariest thing I saw was one of the flywheel bolts was cross-threaded. As you know, the flywheel only goes on one way, and somebody did not line it up correctly when they installed it. So I just got done tearing that thing down, painting it, and I just put almost everything back on it. I got to get the clutch kit back on it, and then I can do the wire harness and all that. Now that I've wasted all your time, what you guys are here for, the OBD2 conversion. I was able to modify a Jetta harness, and I think it's going to work. I won't know till this thing fires up, so I'm gonna probably start getting it in the car. I did not film what I did to do the harness to make it work because honestly I spent 3 or 4 days every night staring at it and giving myself a headache. Here is the harness that I made out of a A3 Mark III Jetta harness to go into the Corrado. As you can see, it's not fully taped yet. I want to get in the car and run all the wires where they need to go before I finish taping them. If you guys are doing this, I found some friction tape at the local hardware store. It is better than electrical tape for harnesses because it doesn't melt and get all sticky. Let's just start here with the wires that go into the car. We have our 4 main connectors that go into the back of the fuse box, the white connectors. I think they are F, G1, G2, and the S connector, which is basically for the wiper harness. Excuse the pull chalk, and excuse me for using my pool table as a workbench. I got a lot of shit for that, but it is serving a better workbench than pool table right now. We have what I believe is our alternator exciter wire. That is the blue connector here. We have what I believe is our AC connector, our Z1 connector. That gives our power to the fuel injectors and whatnot. This is, I believe, the connector for the oil pressure gauge inside the Corrado, the stock one. Here, this blue wire, I forget. I think it has something to do with the AC as well, or the auxiliary water pump and the coolant temp sensor. We have our purple and white wire. That goes to something important. It's slipping my mind what it goes to. This is our starter wire and our brown wire for the OBD2 connector, or the DLC. Some of these I took from the Corrado harness and swapped over to the OBD2 harness. Like the whole wiper assembly. As you can see, I literally took the whole S connector and plug and swapped it over. I did have to add, I believe this is the ambient air temp sensor that I added to this harness. And if we follow the harness up here, we have our 42 pin connector. Now I did run into trouble with this. Let me explain to you what I did before I show you everything. There's some of the mess. But all the headlight and all of the fan wiring that was on the Mark III harness, I just cut out. So strip all the crap off the harness, cut out all the headlight wires, cut out all the fan wires, and then you'll be left with something that looks like this, probably more tangled in a mess. Once I did that, I had a couple wires that didn't go to anything, but they were still coming off the 42 pin connector. The 42 pin connector, once I was done with all that, had two wires coming off of it that did not go to anything. They originally went to the fan control module plug. However, in the Corrado, the fan control module plug is already there with all the wires going to it. So I looked at those same two wires on the Corrado harness, and I found that they went to this blue connector here. So what I did was I took this blue connector out of the Corrado harness and I soldered it to those two wires, wherever they may be, and ran it through. So that took care of that. I do have one wire, I think from the ECU harness. I am not sure where it goes to or if it needs anything. I just taped it there, so if I do need to run it to something, it's there. So that's that. That was the only three wires that didn't go to anything after I cut out all the extra crap. So hopefully that helps you guys. As you can see, if we follow the wire harness around, over here we have what I believe is the crank sensor, knock sensor. This is the reverse lights, which is actually a Mark IV style plug because I have the O2J shift thing conversion. We have our starter wire. We have our alternator exciter wire. We have a ground wire. And here is the one that I ran through for the sender for the oil pressure gauge. That will not be in your OBD2 harness. If we keep following the harness, it goes up. Here's our ECU connector for our OBD2 ECU. And then up here is going to be our O2 sensors, our other knock sensor. I think this is for the purge canister something. The emissions bullcrap I'll probably delete. And this is for something. This is probably for the mass airflow sensor. Sorry, I can't remember everything off the top of my head, but that's pretty much everything, guys. If you notice, I don't have any secondary air plugs or anything like that. I don't have a secondary air injection pump in the car, so I figured I would just cut that crap out as well. That may be what this extra wire here is for. But yeah, that's the harness. Sorry I couldn't show you what I did to cut it all up, but it is, you are able to do it. Hold that thought. I'll get the engine in the car and make sure it starts and doesn't catch fire. So stay tuned for the next video. Unless somehow I get this thing running today, which I highly doubt it. I got a lot to do. But I'll probably make another video once I get the harness in the car and kind of show you how I ran it and everything. Hopefully that helps you guys out. And then we will find out if what I did worked and it starts.
Yeah, boom.